Hello, welcome to Frumple Dongus, episode 3. I think Justin's dying in the background.
I just hear like distant screams and eep.
Yeah, I just hear muffled screams.
I can't get to B.
Oh.
What?
So, yeah, welcome to Frumple Dongus, episode 3. I am Ivy, joined by Brian.
Hey.
And Justin. Who is... You just sound like you're choking on something.
Maybe he is.
Yeah.
No. Oh, wow. You couldn't even hear that burp. Oh, I'm turning my mic up.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, turn it up. We got to hear that burp.
Balls. How does it sound?
Yeah. No, you're fine. Like, balls are loud and clear.
Did both of you like that tweet I made the other day about boba tea? I thought it was funny.
Which one?
I don't think I saw it.
Hold on, I'll send it in here.
Could you
it for the thing?
Yes, please recite it for us.
When you say you like boba and someone says, "Yeah, I bet you like balls slamming the back of your throat."
I did see that. I saw it today actually, and I'm like, yeah, you would say that about balls.
This is my model crying, giving a thumbs up.
I know. Boba. What the hell? You know, sometimes I don't know. The things that possess you. It's a real talent, Justin.
Like, I don't think I could. Your throat?
Yeah. I don't think I could come up with half that shit that you tweet about.
Oh, comedy at my expense. Yes.
Your wit.
Your wit.
Yeah.
So how have you guys been? I can't believe we're at episode 3. It's been 2 weeks since our last one, where we talked about the wonders of Brian's mailbox.
Yeah.
And the supposed theories about the UFOs crashing into it and gently bending the pole.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I'm doing good. I don't know, like I have no concept of time anymore.
It's a real problem.
Yeah, like I forget what I was talking about, but I was talking to my wife and I was like, yeah, that thing was, I was talking about something happening and she's like, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, I thought that was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh God, me.
The time dilation.
Yeah.
It kind of has to do with getting older, but also now time doesn't exist as a concept anymore since the pandemic and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It just it ruined everything. So
yeah,
it ruined everything.
It really did.
Ruined everything. Before the pandemic, I never ordered shit on Uber Eats and Grubhub and all that.
Uh-huh.
I never did before. It's really funny because now I do all the time, every week.
Uh-huh.
It's altered me permanently in such a way. And I definitely experience that now where I don't know how much time I go into work at different days of the week and I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's how I know I need a vacation at this point. I'm like, which I'm currently in the process of packing for, and it's kind of stressful. On one hand, I'm like, I've been preparing for this trip for 2 years now because it's been put off so many times.
Mm-hmm. But
now that it's here this week, I'll be heading out to Seattle. So Meg and I are going
to see.
Yeah. So we'll be going to Seattle this week and preparing for the trip. Now that it's almost here, I'm I have anxiety and I don't want to do it. Now I want to stay home.
I know that feeling. It's you finally come up on a task that needs to be done, that has just been in the back of your mind. It's
right
there. And you're just I have this overwhelming desire to cancel.
Oh my
because I
god.
just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, that's like a thing too that people talk about, like that feeling of canceling plans. You get like endorphins from it.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that happened. That happened recently with Christy, my wife. She was saying how like she's like, it would have been fun to do this, but I get such like an endorphin rush from like not having to do things.
I
She's
know.
like, that's
I
so
know.
weird.
Yeah.
I think it's when you know have anxiety and stuff
Mm-hmm.
before you go and do something, or like when you have plans to do something, you get anxious about it, so then
Yeah.
you don't want to do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this vacation for over 2 years. I'm like, I was all excited. Now I'm just like, now I'm getting anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those situations where I'm like, I'll just put myself on the plane and then stop thinking about it.
Yeah, that's how it is with the streaming also, because
Oh yeah.
I even like made a clip about it and talked about it when I streamed earlier this week. It was like
Mm-hmm.
you make a schedule and you're like, I'm gonna stream on these days, and then you're like, okay, I'm streaming at this time. Like today, for example, I stream at 6, right? 6
Right.
p.m. So the entire day, it's like I'm anticipating
Oh my god.
that task. So it's like anxiety inducing. It's not like extreme. I'm not like falling over and shit. It's just in the back of my mind. It's just there. I'm just like, I can't like fully commit to
I know.
complete brain, poo brain because I have this task at 6, you know?
It feels like, I know what you mean, even though it's like relaxing and you're enjoying it when you're doing it, the preparation or like the lead up to it feels like it's like eating at you, the anxiety.
Yeah.
Like it's nibbling at you like a crust.
Um.
I'll leave
Yeah.
you with that analogy.
I don't think I suffer from it as much as others though, because like I don't know. I guess I just don't think about things until they happen for the most part.
Would you consider yourself like outgoing, Brian, or like
Uh, for the most part, I mean, I'm the kind of person that won't say no to a lot of things.
yeah.
So, yeah, I guess so. Like I'm generally stay at home kind of person, but like if someone was like, "Hey, we should go, to this other city or whatever," then I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I am now, but like I had to work at it. Like I used to be the complete opposite, where I'm like, I'm gonna have a breakdown now.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh yeah, sudden plans change and stuff, you know. But yeah.
I just don't like to commit.
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding.
I can relate on that. Yeah.
It's exhausting when it's like something where you know you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like God, like the perfect example is streaming, you know? And
Yeah.
maybe even like doing this show.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like you're doing it for fun. You're like, okay, on this day we're gonna do this. You're just doing it for fun. And the only you don't have a gun pointed to your head, you know, metaphorically. It's like with work, for example, it's like, okay,
Right.
if I don't go into work, what happens? I'm fired. Okay. If I call into work today, um I lose one of my absent days or whatever the fuck your case is, you know.
Mhm.
So it's like, and those are like motivated by fear,
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
Or like
Fear is an
risk of
incredible
yeah,
motivator.
yeah.
But if you're like with like streaming and the show and stuff, it's just you're doing it for fun. So
There's
that
really no
is your
consequence, yeah.
yeah. There isn't really a consequence and stuff, but you push yourself to do it because you know once you start, you're
Yep.
gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Isn't that called executive dysfunction disorder or whatever? Like
I don't know.
where like you like struggle to start things.
I don't know. I'm that way with movies and shows too. People be like, "Hey, watch this fucking show. It's so amazing. You'd love it." And I'm like, "Ah, I bet I would." And then I watch Trigun for like the 800th time.
um Yeah. I've been there with certain things. Like people are like, "Hey, let's play this game," and it's like usually like a really long, lengthy thing, and I'm like, okay," and it doesn't sound fun at all when I am getting to the point to do it. But then as soon as I play it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is fun. Like I'm having fun now." But like, just
Yeah.
I don't know, starting it sucks sometimes.
You know what's funny now that you bring up like that kind of mindset? Like I'm thinking about like I don't know, just what came to mind was like the original Final Fantasy 7 and 9 where I'm like I know I like these games a lot, but the idea of starting them is like anxiety inducing, you know what I mean?
Because they're
Like
so
from the beginning.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but once I'm playing it, I'm like fucking grinding for hours and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know,
does that go with the whole thing with Skyrim, for example? Like right after your Ivy, did you play Skyrim?
I did not. I'm familiar with it.
So there's like this opening tutorial part where it kind of gets the story going,
Hmm.
kind of sets it for you. It's Helgen Keep. And right at the end of it, like, it's just like, all right, hey, you should go to this place and talk to my brother or something. And the guy like runs off. And then you're just standing there and you have this entire open world around you, and you're just like turns off PlayStation,
Like
Yeah,
it's the whole
pretty
thing of
much.
too many choices. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like crippling overwhelmingness. I can't handle it.
You know,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's what it's like with modern games, where you literally do have too many choices off the bat, whereas the old way was having the illusion of choices,
Right.
where it was like for Super Metroid, for example, right? It's like it's a game based on exploration, and yet if you really examine it, if unless you're unless you are sequence breaking and like you're a speedrunner, you're gonna do it in a very linear way, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Like there's only one way to really go, but it gives you the illusion of having too many choices.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas the new stuff is just like sandbox.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a great format. Like I know a lot of people nowadays are like, "Oh, I want open world sandboxy games." And it's like, "Okay, that's
Right.
cool." But this also like for example with Minecraft, that's like a sandbox game at all. Like that's all it is. But it gets kind of boring because you don't have any direction. Like I need something that gives me direction and then later on gives me freedom to go wherever. Which I think like Final Fantasy games kind of do something do that in a good way because like 7, 8, and 9, it's very linear starting out,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then at like maybe a quarter to a halfway through the game the world opens up and then they're like, okay,
Yeah.
now you can go wherever you want, now you have some direction, here's
I like that. I
yeah.
think that's like a good way to do it.
Mhm.
You know, uh Final Fantasy 7 is interesting where it feels very claustrophobic in the beginning and it
Mm-hmm.
is kind of linear, but then you're right, like after the first act in the game it kind of like opens up.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I played 7, I was
Mhm.
like dumbfounded that there was more after Midgar because
That's not the end of the
yeah,
game.
okay, so it was
Yeah. It was
when
huge.
7 came out, lots of games were really short, and like
Right.
I remember the whole section with Midgard. I was like, or Midgar. I was like, it took me so long, and then when it finally got to the point where it's like, oh, now here's the world map. I'm like, what? Like,
Well,
excuse me?
I thought I was gonna fight Sephiroth.
Yeah, it was just like crazy.
and then
Uh,
and it gets very very strange in terms of
But
like the content
oh
yeah, it
yeah.
took like
story.
the theme just kind of like went off the rails. I mean, it tied it together, but yeah, like it went from like
Yeah.
kind of like slummy sci-fi shit to all of a sudden now you're in like a very like
Yeah.
fantasy thing with aliens, and yeah, it was just
I
crazy.
Yes,
love 7.
spirituality and
But you know what though? If you really think about it, imagine you're playing Final Fantasy 7, right? And then
Mhm.
it's just the initial bombing mission. And
Right.
then you're put outside Midgard and it's open world.
So wait, you want to like take out like all the
No.
content?
What I'm saying is like, think of like an open world game and like how it is right now.
Right.
If Final Fantasy VII puts you in an open world setting after like the bombing mission, you're not
Oh, okay.
super invested in the story. There's no like real motivation for you there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you're just put
Yeah.
outside Midgar. I know it would have turned a lot of people off. I know I would have been turned off.
Yeah.
Right.
When I
Yeah.
played through 7, the biggest motivator was for me was like I've just sunk like 8 hours into this game and I just got to outside of Midgar. Now I'm super invested in the story. What the fuck is going on? Where's Sephiroth? You know, like I have motivator and I'm like hooked to the story now,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And and like that's kind of like a motivator for it. Now you're in this big world and now you're trying to, you know, find out the next step and stuff. And another game fairly recent that does this, which is a very good example, is Breath of the Wild.
Right. Which I
You're
have
put
yet to play, but I've watched playthroughs of it.
It is amazing, by the way. You should definitely play it.
I
But you're
will.
put on only a small chunk of the world. You
Mhm.
can't go anywhere else. It's called the plateau.
Mhm.
And you get story. It kind of like sets the ground and does all this stuff. It's kind of like the tutorial, right? But it has so much story and you're super intrigued that when the rest of the world opens up, yeah, it's a little overwhelming, but you have this motivator of, I need to know what the fuck's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of situations, it's like a game will give you like a tiny bit of story here or barely give you anything. And then you're put in this massive sandbox. And now you're just like completely overwhelmed. You don't know what to do.
Right. No, it's sometimes it's a little overwhelming, and like I'm not good with that stuff. Like I tend to I do like more linear games. RPGs aren't really too, they're kind of linear sometimes, but there's more room for exploration and stuff.
Yeah.
Um games like, let's say, like Final Fantasy 7 or 9, which are two of my favorites. I'm not like, hardcore like about 7 in that like I'm not very good at it. I haven't played it a lot.
I think it was
But
7.
I'm very familiar with it and I enjoy it when I do play it. So one of the things like that keeps me coming back to like Final Fantasy 7 and 9 is like it's like comforting to me. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Well, it's because
Like,
it's familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's familiar, but like even the first time like I played both of those games, there was something, about it that put me at ease in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain. Like maybe it's like the art direction, the worlds, the music a little bit. Like it's just I really enjoyed the worlds they built in those games. And they're
Yeah.
so different. Like you look at 7 and I'm aware they were, I mean, not 7, 9. Like weren't they trying to like make it like the original Final Fantasy games? Like they felt, I don't know if this is how they felt, but like that they kind of strayed too far from the original.
Yeah, they tried to bring back 9 about the crystals and everything, and more about like the old Final Fantasy themes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that game like was important to me because like I remember I didn't have the original PlayStation. This was back in like 2003. I was like 15 at the time. And I borrowed my friend's PlayStation, like the whole console. And I had it like I put it in my room and I borrowed Final Fantasy 9 and I started playing it and I just remember like getting so like just invested in it, and like I guess because it was at a formative time in my life, like it became very important to me,
Yeah.
as like just like as a personal thing, but also like when I do game design for like Toasty or other projects I'm working on, like
Yeah.
I'll think back to that feeling that it gave me playing that game when I'm
Right.
designing and stuff.
Right. No, I try and bring in a lot of that inspiration and nostalgia that we've experienced because all us three, we have a lot of the same games that we like to find comfort in and go back to. So with Toasty, I try to, when I like think of stuff and I write stuff out, I'm like, oh, this character like it'll be like a reference to this if this happens or something. I try and make it to just when somebody is watching like gameplay or Toasty and they're like, oh, like it reminds me of Minish Cap, or I do see the Majora's Mask vibes, and someone like mentions Chrono Trigger, that makes me happy.
Right.
And because they're not saying, oh, you're ripping off this game, they're like, you're giving me those feelings, and those are games that I hold dear to my heart.
Right.
So it's you already find comfort in our game, and the game's not even out yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's one thing I learned about game design when I was in college is they say that you want it to feel familiar, but also to have a unique twist on it. That
Right.
way that people find it approachable, but
Right.
also not boring because it's it
Yeah.
takes it a different direction.
And the whole overwhelming thing and not knowing where to go and like what to do next. I know we're doing our best to combat that. Like there is like some hand holding in the game, but it's to a point where it's totally fine. It's like totally okay hand holding.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Majora's Mask or A Link to the Past or anything like that, where they're just like, hey, you should go this area next. But they're not like making it to where this is all you can do. You have to follow this strict pathway to this. Like you can explore around and just meet characters and have fun and whatnot. But that overwhelming feeling, I also get that feeling when I play some other indie games. I don't have an example or anything. Some other indie games, some other games, pixel style games. If I am in a camera shot and I don't see a whole lot on screen, or like there's a lot of open green, I start to kind of like turn it off in my head. Like I'm start
Yeah.
to lose. And I don't like big open bareness. So, and that's what we were talking about in our couple of Toasty meetings ago when we were talking about working on the maps and whatnot. In-game game maker maps was to like bring everything closer knit. So there isn't a lot of that. So there's always something on screen.
Yeah.
So it's always something interesting. You're like, ooh, I want to investigate that. Ooh, I want to investigate that. It's not just so much work to get to X, to where
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not overwhelming.
Do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah. Sorry, Brian.
No, you're fine. I didn't really have much to say about that. But what were you gonna say?
Do you think the world map in like Final Fantasy VII? Do you think it was too sparse, like spread out?
No, I think it was with that, it was a stylistic choice. And at the same time, they were accommodating the whole thing where you can only get to this area if you have the car. You can only get to this area if you have the ship,
Right. Yeah.
Um,
There are like natural barriers for different
yeah.
vehicles and stuff.
And at the same time, they made it seem like or made it realistic land masses.
Right. Yeah.
So the
No, it makes
whole
sense.
exploding up the visuals of cities and objects and things you can investigate was a very smart idea, because if they were just like really small and nobody can see
Right.
it, then it's just like then in that situation you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I like
Like
it
you
Right.
when
put
they
in
made it like
Nibelheim.
the building or the cities like kind of like their own little model that would stand out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're
that
like
does look
much
great.
bigger, like much bigger than the actual city size, so that it's like noticeable, so you can see it.
Right.
You're like,
And
oh, I
like
gotta
the
make my way to
characters were actually
landmass
much
and
bigger
shit.
too. They would have been like
Yeah,
giants.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
funny because they did that since like the first Final
Yeah.
Fantasy game. Like that's how
Yep.
they did the world maps and stuff. I actually beat the Game Boy Advance remake of Final Fantasy One. I really liked that game. That was a it was a good remake. They have didn't they also release it for PlayStation? It's like Dawn of Souls or something.
Which one?
Final Fantasy 1 and 2.
Maybe.
I have the GBA port that has like both of them on it. still kind of annoyed we never got the Earthbound 1 and 2 GBA cart. You remember that?
Oh,
So they had
yeah, it
Mother 1 and
was.
2, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get that, did we?
No.
People
We were
People got
supposed
around
to.
that.
I remember seeing it in Nintendo Power like back in, I don't know, 2004 or something, like back in high school at some point, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna finally have Mother 1 and 2, and it's on Game Boy, and it's awesome. And it's like they never release it here. They just re-release Earthbound like 50 times now. So
Yeah, they're.
I don't even.
dumb,
Did they even release Mother 3 here?
No, they have not.
You played that. I didn't play it yet.
Yeah, I played through all of it.
Yeah, I bet you cried.
Yes, I did. Also, it's incredibly frustrating. like I feel so fucking bad for that community because they want that game to come out, to come to the States so they can support Nintendo
Right.
and support the game's release. Like everybody has played it illegitimately because it's the only way we can.
Right.
And this community is like, Nintendo, please release it legitimately out here, even though we have already played it, so we can buy it and support the game.
Right.
Like, the perfect scenario for any sort of media. You know, that's like downloading a Linkin Park song and being like, hey, please release that song out here so I can purchase it legit.
Right.
Like,
that's true.
I just
I guess
don't
Nintendo
understand.
doesn't like money.
No, they don't.
It's one of
They
those
got plenty
things.
of money.
It's one of those things where you're like, shouldn't you would benefit from this? Why are you not doing
100%? You would absolutely benefit from this, and you could just release the digital version of it,
right?
Like digitally on the Switch or something.
Yeah,
and that shit would just blow up.
Like people
I
wouldn't
think
even
the only thing...
people would not even be mad if you didn't put it on like the virtual console thing. Like just sell it. Like
yeah.
I
don't even know.
It's weird because like they wouldn't even have to do much to it because you would just have to upscale it to fit the screen and then throw it out there.
Because that's so fucking hard, right? I mean, they've done it so many times with so many other games.
Yeah. Weird.
Damn. But you know, there's just something comforting about like certain games. Like, you know, I know Final Fantasy VII was a big one. Final Fantasy IX, like I said, you know, it's like it was at a point when I was in high school and I was playing it, and it's like it became really important to me and influencing like how I kind of like do things for projects now.
Yeah.
Another game that's like, you know, extremely important to me is Link's Awakening, the original.
Yeah. Oh yes.
It's like the definition of a comfort game to, you know, like you can just like chill out and play that on a nice autumn day.
And the music too. Like, all right, I'm gonna fucking play that music now. We're gonna listen to it. And
I'm gonna fucking play that.
Oh, listen, I love the town theme.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
I love it so much.
This is a good one. It's a banger. I like which trying to think of. There's so many good tracks. Oh man, and then there's like the tracks they play that make you tear up, like fucking when you bring the ghost back to his house.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, it's just like how I remembered it. And you're like, oh, that's sad.
It's like so many songs in that game are like that. That you know that GIF where it's Andy Samberg and he gets up. He's like, well, I'm gonna go cry now.
Yeah.
That's like so many fucking tracks in that game do that to me. But it's so good. Like it's like such a mix of like adventure, exploration, and just like punching you in the feels.
Yeah.
So I really dig that. I like that a lot when games can do that, and I think that's what we're doing with Toasty. Spoilers. I think we're gonna
punch you right in the feels.
We're gonna punch some peeps right in the feels.
Oh my gosh, I love, like, I know it's a common thing, like dark underlining themes, but I like it when the dark underlining themes are like met with positivity or like joy, you know? Like the whole bringing the ghost back to their house in Link's Awakening, you know? Like, oh, this is sad. This person, died. This is their home. It's old, and they're just like super excited to see it. And you're just like, oh, this is sad.
But here's the thing, now that you bring that up, were they like a real person, or were they just like created by the Windfish? And
They
like
had to have been created by the Windfish.
But if they were created by the Windfish, wouldn't, like, I don't know, do you think there's like some kind of symbolism, like dream symbolism, like, you know what I mean? Like, is it, I'm just wondering, because it feels so specific. It's like, all right, there's this ghost, here's his house, you have to take him back there, and he has like a freaking grave, and it's all sad, and we're all sad now, thank you.
Yay, being sad.
That's like your number one motivation in Toasty. You just want everyone to be sad at the end.
He's like, everyone's gonna be sad and they're gonna like it.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like so many of our creative conversations on Toasty are just like, how can we make this as upsetting as possible?
Yeah.
Don't say that.
That's what it feels like whenever we talk about like the different events in the game and like the different story beats.
Yeah.
It's funny, speaking of sad games or sad things in good games, I was just playing Skyward Sword today and I beat it finally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the ending, it's like, oh, it's so happy and everything, you beat the bad guy, and it's like, and then I was sitting there playing with Christy and she's like, why is this so sad? I was like, yeah.
You're like, oh shit, it is sad.
It was like they made it very sad because like there's like so many people.
It, right?
Yeah, I beat it.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, it is really sad.
Damn.
The old lady. Spoilers.
Oh my god. Yes, I know. That part, fuck. All right.
I felt bad for Goose.
Fuck. Did you ever beat Skyward Sword?
No. I've seen you play it. I don't know if I've seen the ending though, but I saw you doing like the final dungeon and stuff.
Okay. All right. If for people who are listening to this, just a quick skip ahead 15 seconds.
Spoilers.
Quick spoiler. For Skyward Sword. And 3, 2, 1. The part where Princess Zelda's in the about to go into the crystal, and she's like, "I'm always the one to wake you up. Can I trust you to be the one to wake me up this time?" And you're just ah! Ah!
Just fucking destroys you in the feels.
It is literally the definition of, it's like poetry. It rhymes because the game literally starts with that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I see. I love Full Circle. I love that shit. It fucking it's in Toasty, but goddamn.
Toasty.
Oh yes, baby. Oh yes. I love it so much. Oh god. All right.
So is there could you think of another moment in a game that's done that to you?
Yes.
Messed you up?
Yes, and I will always reference Crisis Core until the day I die.
Oh my god, you do bring that up a lot.
I know.
Oh my god, now that you bring that up.
I had never cried so hard for a video game in my entire life. I have never. God, Mother 3 fucked me up. The ending of Skyward Sword fucked me up. Twilight Princess the first time I beat it after credits fucked me up. Fuck all y'all. But Crisis Core, I was crying for hours after I beat that game.
Poor guy.
It fucked me up. It fucked me up bad. God.
What about it messed you up? I'm curious because I mean there's just sad stuff. It's very individualized sometimes, what makes us feel this way when we play games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one person could be like, "Oh, it was the ending that messed me up." It's like, "Oh man, the little interlude part in the middle of the game messed me up." You know, it's like it's not always like the big finale that does it.
Right. What really does it for me is when things that had previously happened that had changed the character are brought up in the end of the story. So like with Crisis Core, the person who was like who trained him, who was like his best friend, would always tell him to protect his honor, you know? And
are you talking about Zach?
I'm talking about Zach's trainer Angeal.
Oh, okay.
The one who originally had the Buster Sword. He always told him to protect his honor and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of story development that goes through the game. On top of that, the music is like occasionally you'll hear this theme that plays at different points in the game, and it's a really good song. And and then there's like this love story that's tuned into it between Zach and Aerith, which is fucking amazing. And then when it comes towards the end, like he after he does like all this stuff for Cloud and stuff, it is the ultimate like friendship thing. There's so much, but at the very end, right?
Yeah.
God, so like, you know how Hojo pumped him full of Mako energy in Final Fantasy VII?
Gotta do it. They do it to everyone.
Yeah. Zach was able to kind of like get themselves moving. And they broke out Cloud out of the other tube and like saved Cloud. Cloud was just a security guy. Put him in soldier clothes because that's what they had. And they were on the run for like, I think it was for a while, and he's trying to make his way back to Midgar because he promised to get back to Aerith. And it's like really fucking sad. Like public enemy number 1, the Turks are after them and whatnot. But like the entire time, Cloud can't talk or move or do anything. He's just a zombie. And Zach is like carrying him and doing everything he can to like keep him safe, protect Cloud and whatnot. And it even shows like a high definition version of that part in Final Fantasy VII when they're on the truck.
Right.
When Zach's talking with Cloud.
Does Crisis Core take place during 7?
It takes place right before 7.
Oh.
So this all this shit happens, right? And then like he finally gets to that cliff right over Midgar, and he's just like, hell yeah, I'm fucking here. I made it, you know? And then I'm like
here.
You hear a bunch of guns and shit, right? Yeah. And helicopters. It's basically like the entire Midgar force is right fucking there. And Zach like hides Cloud behind some rocks, you know, and like tousles his hair a little bit, you know, whatever, just being Zach because he's this super fun, positive guy.
Yeah.
And then like he has this little moment with Cloud, and he turns and he walks away. And for the first time, you see everything through Cloud's eyes, and you just see Cloud hold up his hand towards Zach before his eyes close. It was like now that was the first time he was able to move when it was too late. So that kind of shit right there fucks me up. I love that. And then Zach goes into this battle, but right beforehand, he says his catchphrase, "Embrace your dreams," and then he follows that with, "And whatever happens, protect your honor," because it's referencing Angeal. And then he prays to the sword, and he says, "As soldier," and he runs in. And you get to fight an endless horde of these soldier dudes. I think I've told both of you this before, but that one part I told you about, that one song that plays throughout the game, you get the saddest violin acoustic guitar rendition of that song playing as you're fighting until you die.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. You like when it goes full circle, when things come full circle, but it's sad.
I love it full circle. I love tragedy. I love beautiful composition that also comes full circle. And it's just Oh, that shit is just it's beautiful to me. I love it.
Like
So
poetry.
it's like poetry.
Don't start.
I seriously. But Crisis Core fucked me up. Oh god. I was crying for days. Every time I heard that song, I would start crying.
So good.
Only like recently I could listen to that song and now I don't cry. Just recently.
Well, that's good.
Only recently.
Yeah. I beat that game like over 10 years ago, so
You
fucking A.
It's like you slowly poisoned yourself to become immune.
Yes. Yes.
Would you ever like? Are there people who sell like actual Buster swords?
Yeah.
Would you buy
had
one?
yes, I would. I had the Advent Children Buster Sword.
Yeah.
Fun,
like an
fun
actual.
yeah, like the actual sword. Funny story. Okay, my parents they went to they were in a motorcycle club.
Right.
My dad was.
Yeah, we'll call it
because yeah.
that. I know the story.
Further. Anyways, so they go to a run or whatever, and then there was a raffle, and they're like raffling off stuff. It's like, hey, $500 off new chrome for your bikes, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, new leathers, blah blah blah, motorcycle stuff, and then it's like,
Fucking
all right,
Buster sword.
we're raffling off this giant sword, and I was just like, oh my god, no fucking way. Everyone thought it was the stupidest thing. I was like, is that Cloud's Buster Sword from Advent Children? What is happening?
Oh my god. Was it
So I
metal?
got it. Yeah.
What the hell?
Straight up fucking
you
metal.
Have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Where is it on your wall? What do you do with it?
No, it's too fucking big for the wall. It did come with a mount, but that thing would literally rip out my fucking wall.
Okay. When I visit you, I have to see this. You just have to take it out. Like at this point, can you lift it up? Like
it will literally. Yes, I can. I can't swing it. It is so fucking heavy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
I've never heard of this.
I don't know. I never really like looked into it.
I like how you just accepted it like as just a gift. It's like, yeah.
I mean, like, it did come into my life at a time where I was super edgy and really fucking stupid, so I had like some like edgy pictures taken with me with it that have been deleted and never can be found.
You need to post those like right now.
I don't even have those pictures anymore.
What were you like 15 or something?
Yeah, I was like 15.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
But
I thought it was going to be like foam, made out of foam or plastic or something.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I was envisioning.
Huge.
What the fuck?
No
How do you make that out of metal?
I don't know.
Do you know how heavy it is?
I haven't weighed it.
Oh, I would.
But
yeah.
It's very fucking heavy. Like the tip of it to the handle, like if I hold the handle and the tip to the ground, the handle hits my chin, and I'm 6'1".
Oh yeah.
God.
Well, okay. So, is the handle strong enough to lift it?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I was worried that like the blade was just so heavy that like it wouldn't even be able to like pick it up from the handle without breaking.
It's fucking huge. I wish I had a gun blade though.
I would love a gun blade.
Do they make those?
Yeah,
Now this
you
is
can
my
get a gun blade.
follow-up question. I feel like I'm not even surprised because like the things that are replicas now, it's so different than when we were younger and like nothing existed. Like now everything exists.
Yeah, well now people who were kids up during the time are like adults and they have the money to make the shit they want to make.
And on top of that, Megan showed me a meme yesterday. And it was somebody took a picture inside a Spirit Halloween, and it said, you can walk into Spirit Halloween, buy a Naruto jacket and a bleach mask. Kids these days don't realize how easy they got it.
I know.
And I'm like, oh, it's so fucking true.
I like how that's a joke, but it's the truth at the same time. Because
Yeah.
we had like nothing. I remember in 6th grade or 7th grade around then, I had this memory of sitting in my room and drawing the masks for Majora's Mask like on cardboard, like life size, and coloring them with colored pencils and like cutting them out and making actual masks. Like I made the yeah, I did it. And I'm like, now you could just go on like 3D printed or go online and someone selling it on Etsy for $50 or something. Or like there's even official, reproductions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so different. Like I just remember making shit out of cardboard.
Hell yeah. It's because the nerds grew up. That's all it is.
Yeah. So the boomers were not people of culture.
No.
Like we are.
No, they weren't.
That brings up another interesting thing. When you're like driving places, do you see like more people with like anime and video game stickers like on their back windows and stuff?
Oh, totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the time.
I see that so much now, and I'm like, this is what our generation is doing.
Yeah. I saw. Well, it's so funny because like I live in the middle of nowhere in the South, and I'm like, there's gonna be no nerds here. Like it's all farmers and whatever.
It's all farmers and shit. They're all like about their corn and.
I mean, it's definitely more about that
only
here. Like there's just people who don't get into like multimedia stuff at all.
Yeah.
But like the other day, I was driving around and I saw some guy with like a bunch of like anime stickers and stuff on the back of their window and like Zelda stickers and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm not just isolated out here by myself.
Did you feel seen at that point? Did
you
feel the knowing nod?
Yeah. So
you just like stop next to him in your car and finger guns, like, hey,
hey. No. Although I've had a few people like comment on my Zelda tattoo in town, which is surprising.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
The new tattoo you got?
Yeah.
So is it like you designed it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no. I took an existing design from Breath of the Wild and modified it so it fit on my arm, and I added some other stuff. But yeah. Like
it's kind of like that. It's like the eye design, right? With like kind of linear stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Sheikah eye surrounded by the lines and circles, which are actually the same pattern on the Sheikah slate in Breath of the Wild. But I added on some extra lines and circles, and then a band with
made
the
it more decorative.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because like if you're putting it on your arm, it's better to make it like more embellished and stuff.
Yeah. I wish I would have added more to the backside, because after I got it done, I was like, yeah, the backside really doesn't have anything on it, except for like some lines that wrap around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could always add to it if you come up with something new.
Oh, I will. I'm going to get my whole arm done eventually, so...
You want sleeves?
Yeah, I want one.
That would look badass.
I don't want both, but...
Yeah. I really wish... I don't know if you've ever actually noticed this. On the topic of still like nerdy stuff and acquiring nerdy stuff and how easy it is now, Japan still gets all the cool shit and act like we don't want it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Wait, what? Could you rephrase that so I could understand what you're saying?
Okay, all right. Recently...
all I just heard was you screaming.
Fuck. Okay. All right. So Japan gets a lot of really, really cool game and nerdy shit.
Right.
And then America, we don't really get that much. And I see it a lot with like game pre-orders.
Sure.
Like the Japan pre-orders are always so cool. And then America, it's like, here's an art book. Japan's like, here's an art book plus keychain plus plush plus massive poster, and you're just like,
right, yeah.
The only way you can get.
And a 1/3 size figurine of the main character.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so true.
We got to release like a super special edition, physical edition of Toasty once it comes out.
And
once Toasty comes out, you bet I'm gonna reach out to limited run games and be like, hey, maybe we can work on something here.
Yeah,
make it exclusive to America.
Oh, that's so fucking mean. I'll make it exclusive.
Wait, what'd you say?
Exclusive to like.
I said we'll make it exclusive to America.
Yeah, fuck everyone else.
No.
I'll make it a VR chat exclusive.
Yeah. Get some fucking DLC.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna get into what are they called? NFTs.
Oh
No.
No.
The Geldian Castle VR chat world, which is actual virtual world, and it's just crashed and destroyed. And you have to make your way into the catacombs underneath and do a variety of trials to access the special pre-order for Toasty.
And you
That's
only
how
get
you get
one
to
chance
pre-order
to do
it.
it.
Wait, why
That's how
would
you
we
can pre-order
hide
it.
the pre-order?
Because
Because you want to make it hell for them.
it's not so much like making it hell, it's making it fun. Like,
And
you know
exclusive.
how boring it is to click add to cart?
No, that's too convenient for you.
Let's make that fun. Fuck
So
it.
you want
We
to be
don't want to sell shit.
inconvenienced.
We want to make you work for it.
Yeah,
No, it's not even that. I just want to have fun.
No, you want to be inconvenienced.
Okay. All right. I thought we agreed
just
no
wanna
king
come
shaming before we started.
Being inconvenienced. I'm sorry, I king shamed you for being
Yeah.
that you enjoy being inconvenienced.
I need you
For
to do better.
orders, they're too easy. They're too easy.
They're sold out too fast. We need to make them harder to get. Actually, I
Nah.
could see that. Because like when things launch for like pre-order, people buy that shit within a minute. Like
I know,
Yeah.
and
right?
it's like, oh man, why is it so fast?
Yeah. Should we have some kind of toasty merch that's like, I don't know, like Marshall's shield? Like imagine
Like,
doing
an
like some
actual
kind of
shield.
massive item.
Yeah. That'd be
I would
cool.
like to do like some sort of like collaboration, and like if people actually show interest, maybe do like
Right.
some sort of collaboration, get like a shield or something related to it, like really, really great quality, and then just like auction it off and give the rest to charity or something.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like, pre-order exclusive stuff. Physical, what do they call it? Physical items. That's always an interesting thing, but it's like hard to do, when you're an indie game dev compared to like if you're a big name or whatever.
Yeah.
Because then you have to buy it and ship it and all that shit. And we're gonna have to like do a little bit of that, I think, when we do our Kickstarter next year.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Are you guys? Yeah, go ahead.
I just was thinking about the whole thought of like playing old, like we were talking about older games.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play any games growing up that like at the time you were like you loved the game, and then you find out later like that these games are considered like really shitty and no one liked them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they're not like, yeah, it doesn't get there's like games where they didn't get the attention they deserved and stuff where it's like, oh, they're pretty good but no one likes it.
Yeah, like
I don't know about like terrible games. There were a few games I played back in the day that like I'm like, oh, I kind of like these games, and then I find out it's like, no, people aren't that into this game. Kind of shitty.
Yeah. I've always been fascinated by it because it really kind of shows how you can be swayed just by game reviews or something like that instead of just like taking your own word for it. Because like, one of my favorite games growing up was Quest 64. And that's like notoriously the shittiest game ever on the 64. And like at least as far as like adventure RPG games, but I always thought it was really fun, and like the combat style was really unique. Because like it was not really turn-based and you could move around the battle arena, but it still kind of had turn-based elements. Yeah, it was interesting.
I liked Croc.
Yeah.
People don't like that
shit
game?
on Croc. I liked here's one. I liked Glover. I liked
that game's hard.
People hated Glover, right? Didn't know that, but I liked it, right?
playing it. I think I tried playing it. I don't know. I remember it being. I remember it being hard. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is very hard. But it's really funny is every single one of us. I can like say that every single person who plays games or grew up playing games liked a game that is regarded as not very good.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair to assume, right? And yet, kind of like what Brian was just saying, a game gets bad reviews, and like, oh, well, then they're not going to play that game.
Sure, yeah, because it's like about the kind of attention it's getting. If a game is either not getting attention or getting attention for being a bad game, it won't do as well.
Right.
Although sometimes nowadays, when games get attention for being bad games, they kind of do get a lot of attention, especially from streamers and stuff. They'll like play a bad game, a game universally regarded as being bad or something,
Right. Yeah, it's any publicity is good publicity, that whole
yeah
sort of thing. Yeah, I mean,
it seems like that.
It's funny because I know Justin has called me out on this, but like I've played a lot of like games that have been considered bad, like No Man's Sky, a couple others, and like I forget what it was the other games were, but like I just have a habit of playing games that generally people just did not like. And like I think it's just because that whole thing where it's like I don't really read reviews. I just like if the game looks interesting, I'll pick it up and play it. And if I find one thing about the game that intrigues me, I'm like, okay, I love this. This is so unique. But then like the game could be shitty, but like if it just has one unique thing about it, that I'm like hooked and I love it. And I don't know, it's just depends on what it is.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Do you think like what's an example? Do you know like that you would consider like a game that isn't people don't have a high regard for, but that you personally enjoy?
I mean, like I said, No Man's Sky, when that game came out, it was like just chewed apart by the community, the gaming community, like because I guess it didn't live up to people's expectations and everything, and like it was just super controversial for the longest time because like when it launched, it had performance issues and it didn't have all the content that they said they promised, but they didn't. They were kind of vague about it, and then like I don't know, like I've always kind of liked it, and it's really interesting, and they constantly update it. Like, and the funny thing about it now is that they updated it so much that now it's like, and it's been what 5-6 years since it came out.
Yeah,
and like they actually now get like recognition and game awards for it, and people are like, "Oh man, this game's so cool!" And it's like, yeah, but you like 5 years ago, you guys were like shitting on it.
That?
Oh yeah, right. Like fucking Skyward Sword. Remember, everybody was shitting on that when it first came out on the Wii.
They did.
Everybody hated it. They're like the motion controls and stuff, and then the the world famous fucking Aaron Hansen.
Yeah.
And everyone.
But yeah, actually, but now the remake came out. Like everyone's playing it, and everyone's like talking about how good it is, and it's like it's the same game. Nothing changed. Some people are even still using the motion controls. Like.
Yeah, there was like some quality of life changes that they did.
Yeah, there were like the saving and stuff like that.
Were those things so detrimental that it just made the game awful to you?
I don't even know what the quality of life changes are. That's how much I didn't even notice. Like other than like the autosave and maybe the camera. But like
for me, I had a hard time because my fucking Joy-Con was drifting the entire time, and I was using the fucking motion controls.
Yeah.
And I kept falling out of calibration, and I was screaming so angry.
Actually, now you mention it, the controls are actually probably worse with motion controls because on the Wii, the joystick never had an issue, and because you had the sensor bar, you never lost tracking.
Yep.
But with this, there's no sensor bar. You have to like recalibrate every time it kind of gets off.
I didn't even think the motion controls for the Wii were even that bad.
No,
that's how I beat it, and I liked it.
You know, one reason my theory is that a lot of people think the motion controls on the Wii were bad for Skyward Sword is because Skyward Sword required you to have the Wii Motion Plus thing, and I bet a lot of people did not get that and just play it with like the base Wii controller, and they're like, "This doesn't work," and it's like, I
don't know if you could even play with the base Wii controller.
I don't know.
I think it says it needs to like pick it up. But what I think people might have got like aftermarket ones
Oh, maybe.
that just didn't work very well, or they actually didn't really play it. They just paid attention to reviews, and that's all the reviews ever said.
Yeah, that's
were
true
shitty
too.
motion controls.
Yeah, because
Anyway.
like I never had any issues with the original game, and yeah, you know, it's interesting because they're like, oh well, they improved the camera now. You can control with the other joystick, but Skyward Sword had the exact same camera controls as Ocarina of Time, which people praise. You know, like it's the best Zelda game ever made.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just funny to me how people like change opinions just because either it's popular or because like they convince themselves that it's better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Meh.
I just think it's interesting how like like people will shit on something and then turn around later and be like, "Oh, this is the best game ever." And it's like, yeah, it's the same game. Like, whatever.
I know it is really weird.
I'm glad you came around for it, but you know.
Yeah. But I think it is about that time, guys.
Yep.
So that was the third. We'll wrap it up. That was the third Frumple Dongus.
Dongus Frumple.
It's still funny that like Justin named it.
Dunkle.
We just went. I like that we just went with that.
Yeah.
After we the vote and everything.
I thought we were like kicking and screaming about it and did like a vote on Twitter.
We were, and then like it's the only one that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't want to like lock ourselves into a certain theme, and it's just so nonsensical that it works enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just make our own shit that applies to it. And there you go.
Love it. All right. So we will be back with another episode in probably 2 weeks after my vacation.
Ooh.
Yeah, have fun on that.
After I head out to Seattle and
a bunch of pictures of PAX. Please.
Yes, I will. I'll take a lot of pictures, and we just got a nice burp from Justin, and we'll end it on that note. So until then, bye everyone.